Tony Traina is a watch writer I've become friends with over the last few years, so this episode is yet another long overdue recording. His Substack, Unpolished, is one of only a few I subscribe to, so I was excited to ask him about his journey away from a larger company like Hodinkee to embark on his own independent distribution model. Tony isn't a car guy, so it's all business, watches, and a spritz of golf, considering Tony's little-known stint playing AJGA tournaments. Let's get into it. Please enjoy my conversation with Tony. I'm your host, Wesley Smith, and you're listening to the Standard Age Podcast. Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to see you. First time I've seen you as a new father.
Right. So, yes. And you're having a good summer. A moment ago, you mentioned not as good as mine. Was that alluding to fatherhood, or was that alluding to something else?
Well, in general, I mean, look, I don't live the Southern California lifestyle. I don't have a couple of month old baby. I'm slumming it in comparison to the Smith household.
Well, I can assure you, having a couple-month-old baby makes it kind of geographically irrelevant where I am because it's a lot of sofa time and a lot of bottle feeding and that kind of thing.
Sure. Last time I talked to you on the phone, though, I think you were like making a trip to Coronado for the day, maybe. I don't know. It sounded glamorous in my mind.
Okay, so fair. All right. We did take the little one down to Coronado for the day. We stopped by, saw some friends on the way, which was really kind of like the first time she was meeting our friends in person. You know what I mean? The white blood cell count is monitored, sort of, like whether or not you're immune to certain things. So we pressed pause for several weeks before we introduced her in person to some of our friends. But yes, Coronado was something. Have you been anywhere this summer? Have you taken any trips?
Um, Little ones. I mean, I went to Greece for a week about in the middle of July, and
Just a little trip to Greece.
well,
Yeah.
that was the big one. That was the big one. Other small trips. I led with the big one as one does, but other smaller trips as well. But the Greece was the big one. I was in Milos for a week, which was nice.
I've never heard of Milos.
Yeah, it's a small island. It's no Mykonos, it's no Santorini, but it's nice. It's a little bit off the beaten path from the typical American summer at least, so it was good.
And that's the goal, or was there something specific that drew you there?
Yeah, there's some watch stuff there I was doing as well.
Oh, cool.
So it was a good trip, yeah.
Nice. Well, you were in LA recently, right?
No, I didn't get to go to LA this year because last year I went to that Intersect show and I saw you there. That Wesley and the Notice guys do.
Yeah.
Wes and the Notice guys do. I didn't get to go this year. I had a conflict, but yeah, I need to make it back to LA soon because I haven't been in, since then. It's been more than a year now.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it feels like 6 to 9 months max, but yeah, I guess it's been now over a year. What is the other watch show that happened right after it, which I thought you were going to, but maybe I'm wrong.
Oh no, Minutes and Hours.
That's
They
it.
they advertised in the newsletter, but I also had a conflict during that week, so I couldn't go.
Oh, bummer. Okay. Why are so many lawyers into watches?
I know. I think there is a sense that lawyers tend to be relatively, let's say, conscientious folks. So I think there's a natural draw to the research and whatever that goes into watches. They tend
Oh,
to be high
yeah. Okay.
achieving, well paid, all that type of stuff. So oftentimes I feel like they get into it as collectors, and then um perhaps more than any profession, lawyers want to get out of being lawyers, it seems. And a natural thing to do is turn a passion into a career. So yeah, they're strewn about the watch landscape. They're dealers, they're in auctions, they're doing media, all these things. So yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess there's two things I didn't think about. One is the research element, to your point, which is a very valid one. That's a kind of seems like a parallel road of thought, I guess, or approach. I guess the other is if you're wearing a suit, you're probably looking to potentially wear a nicer watch as well once you.
Yeah, I think a lot of lawyers probably, I mean, lawyers, bankers, all these professions get into watches as clients, collectors first. And some of them decide to make a go of it professionally, and it just so happens that a lot of the folks that we're friendly with, or a few of them, I shouldn't say a lot, had lives as attorneys before.
Is the research element kind of what drew you to law to begin with, or like what took you down the path?
No, writing. I mean, probably writing. It's inclined, if you're inclined to write things, it's probably the profession that's sort of best suited for you that actually has like sort of long-term career prospects and you can build a good life for yourself.
Hmm.
I would say.
Well, so I guess to the layperson, you think of law being like in the courtroom and, litigation and blah, 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 blah. But like, I don't, what do you write mostly? Cause, and then you also have your paralegal too, right? Who's like your right hand person.
Well, I never had my paralegal.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I only practiced for about 5 years, so I was not at that level. But yeah, I wrote or write contracts, which are terribly boring. So I won't bore you with the details of that. But all the types of contracts that it takes to run a business.
Okay. So it's mostly contracts that you're writing.
For
Okay.
me, I mean, this is like there's two sides, right? And that's the side I chose.
You're a
The
contract
other side is the
lawyer.
more exciting. Yeah, the other side is the more exciting side that they make TV shows out of, right? Like litigation and courtrooms and criminal proceedings and all of that.
Yeah. What did your parents do?
Um, my mother raised two beautiful children, of course.
Gorgeous.
And my dad, my dad worked in business. He worked at a pharmaceutical company. I grew up in Indiana, so he did that for probably worked the same company for 25 years, which is, very different from how a lot of us probably pursue careers nowadays.
Yeah. Was he on like the sales side or like research or what did he do?
No, I think he did more of the when you develop a drug, you need to get it approved by the government, right? The FDA,
FDA. Yeah.
and he worked on that side of the business.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
I can imagine there are mountains of regulatory documents that need to be prepared. So,
Now, did he have a law degree as well?
no,
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Nice. Okay, so when was your start date at Hodinky? Like, when did you go there full time?
I started full time. I had written a little bit for them and some others, probably dating back to early COVID days, but I started with them full time towards the end of 2022.
Okay, so I imagine everybody was working remotely almost at that point. Um,
I think it was still mostly remote. Yeah. And I live in Chicago and I stayed here the entire time and I'd have always stayed here. But it was a weird structure at that point, right? Because they had the Crown and Caliber thing down in Atlanta, some people in New York, some people all over,
right.
me randomly in Chicago, heading up the Chicago branch. So yeah, it was a very, very remote company. James Stacy in Toronto and so on.
Yeah, it's funny. And then, way back when Heaton was in Minnesota, still is. But, it's kind of interesting because I always thought you were there, I guess, earlier for some reason. And having had been to the office or having been to the office before, like I know a lot of that crew was in office. So I was kind of curious as to like what percentage of their company was remote. Kind of a boring detail, perhaps, but it was just something a curiosity of mine. But by 2022, yeah, I guess most everybody was outside those
Yeah,
four
it's like
walls.
most companies. I feel like a
Right,
lot of remote work.
right. Do you look back at Hodinky as like more of a stepping stone to where you're at now, or was it like how do you consider your transition away from there into doing what you're doing now?
Well, looking back, everything's a stepping stone if you're not on that stone anymore. So,
I mean,
definitionally
I
speaking, I
mean, like,
suppose it is.
do you view where you're at now? Sorry, maybe a staircase is a better analogy. Are you higher than you were, or is it a
So I'm obviously
lateral?
being a smartass. I think it's all lateral. It's so hard to tell because like media, you never really know. Everything feels so horizontal
Okay.
nowadays. Like all these moves feel lateral, and I don't think perhaps names mean things and they don't mean things. I don't know who's to say. Media is such a complicated thing
Yeah.
to parse out.
Right.
I would obviously not be where I am now without the 2-ish years I spent there. It gives
Hmm.
you a ton of name recognition and respect in the space that takes years to earn on your own otherwise, if ever. And the contacts that you make within the industry, on the media side, on the brand side, all of that type of stuff. Obviously, all of that came because of my time at Hodinkee, and it would have been hard to come by without that.
Yeah. You have 45,000 or so followers on Instagram. Did that growth in Instagram followership happen mostly at Hodinkee, or is it more kind of current day? Like when did you see
No,
the
it's all pretty organic. It's I started doing short videos off and on. I would say last year I focused on them more so. Um, but it was basically when I started doing Instagram Reels, I saw a huge uptick in growth.
wow. Um
Slowed down since then, but that's basically what it comes from.
how do you find the management of that followership, like that follower group?
It's I don't know. I don't it's quite transient, right? I still probably I feel like I engage with a lot of the same people still that I
Yeah,
knew before. Like it's hard to discern the difference between let's say 10,000 and 40,000 or whatever the number you said was.
sure.
In my opinion, I feel like I interact in the DMs and whatever else uh, with the same people I probably was years ago on some level. And I will say, I've gotten a lot worse at responding to comments and Instagram DMs and all of that type of stuff. And the important people that I need to talk to, I've moved to other spaces because Instagram has become kind of unmanageable for me. And I don't make any money off of Instagram. It's all like top of funnel stuff to use like a marketing term, right?
Yeah.
I make money off of the newsletter and sending emails and all of these types of things. So I direct more of my attention to responding to people via those means than Instagram when kind of any clown can DM you, you know?
I like how you phrased that. I'm bad at answering DMs, which really you mean I don't do it on purpose.
Yeah, right. Of course. That's a good way to say it. Yes. You got
Yeah,
to train people. You've got to train people to that for sure.
right. No, it's interesting because I'm kind of active everywhere and, perhaps to a fault, like I
Well, you
for
have to be for sure.
in what sense?
I mean, you have to be active everywhere, right? I mean, if you run a business like yours, don't you have to be? You never know who your next client or customer is going to be, and you have to, I
Exactly.
imagine, have to treat it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I guess yours, yeah, okay. So I guess yours doesn't run that way. So that's gives you that runway to.
Well, in fairness, it does, I guess, but I'm just short-sighted. I don't know.
Well, it's
It's
really
business
interesting.
acumen that you do, Wesley.
Oh no, yeah, trust me. That's a whole other podcast. Um, so you're slowing down the video content. You said. I guess would you attribute that directly to the growth in Instagram then, is because of those videos, like the whole TikTokification of Instagram?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they want to. I think sometimes we don't, as watch collectors, I'm making a broader point. We'll come back to your question. I
Sure.
think sometimes we as watch collectors don't think about how the larger platforms that we interact on, those being YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, impact everything around us. And I think, Instagram really started pushing short form video, and it's been a few years now. Uh, but if you play along with that, it's eventually going to reward you, it seems. And so it did that for me, and I've slowed down on it for now because the newsletter is where I try to make money and focus. But eventually you have to play the algorithm game if you want to grow, if you want to find subscribers, if you want to build a sustainable business. You have to play the algorithm game at some point. So it will only be a matter of time before I'm figuring it out again. And I've started dipping my toe back in a little bit, but I wanted to get the newsletter sort of functioning first.
Yeah. Are you on TikTok? I'm not.
I was posting my videos there, but I kind of fell off. And YouTube is probably going to be the next thing I prioritize. I like that you can at least post a little bit more long form stuff, and they push the short form videos as well. But I like that you can have banks of long form content, and that seems a little bit more conducive to what I'm trying to do at least.
Yeah, same actually. Now, when you're saying long form, are you talking? I mean, obviously greater than a minute, but like, are you talking 10 minutes? Are you talking 40 minutes?
In the short term, they'll be less than 10,
Okay.
watch reviews, things like that.
Yeah.
You see some of these folks now that are doing YouTube videos, they can be quite long, and I think YouTube incentivizes that with the way they place ads.
Hmm.
But you can see watch videos 15, 30 minutes sometimes. It's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, totally. You are a JLC fan, and I think that's kind of widely known.
I
Um,
like I like Jaeger LeCoultre, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Do you?
I do. Um, I think for the longest time, okay, so when I was like researching a quote white dial dress watch, I was considering a lot of things. I settled, not settled because I love it. I did not settle. Let me be clear. But I got a Tank Louis, and I love it. But I did consider the Reverso. I will say, however, the like tribute watches and things like that either weren't available or didn't have a white dial at the time. So I didn't go the JLC route mainly due to the fact that the Reverso was just too big. It was too thick. It wouldn't, you know what I mean? I love the tribute watches. I think they're stellar. I think they're beautiful. I think they're perfect. Now I want a black dial dress watch, and if they would only make that watch, other because I think that, what was it, 2011 or
The
2013,
original one, yeah.
the one that came with like sword hands, I think maybe even.
Yeah.
Okay, that thing was gorgeous, and I would love that. But now those prices of like, I think those things are like 20 grand now or something.
Are
But
they?
I can't remember. I haven't done the research in the last year or so. But anyway, what do you find to be the most misunderstood aspect of the Reverso?
Misunderstood. I don't know if anything's misunderstood about it. I think it kind of gets lumped in as this alternative to the Cartier Crash because it's kind of the second most famous rectangular watch, and they sit under the same luxury group. So it kind of gets stuck playing second fiddle to that. And maybe some of that is the conglomerate's fault, right? Where the Cartier tank gets pushed and then the Reverso gets second billing. But it is its own thing. It's got its own story. Obviously, the case kind of tells its story. But I think almost every rectangular watch probably gets lumped in with the tank on some level.
Mm-hmm.
But the Reverso to me has an interesting design. I mean, it's a rectangle, but if you look at the lines of the watch, there are these like kind of nicely curved lines and the horizontal gadroons and all of this stuff. It's very Art Deco in a way that I think is more true to that period than even the tank, which I find cool. So maybe that's what's perhaps I don't know if it's misunderstood, but that's kind of my take on the Reverso because I didn't always love it. I mean, I had tanks and Santos Dumonts and stuff like that before I ever got a Reverso, but eventually I kind of fell for it, and I've had a few of them since.
Yeah, I just find that they're vastly underrated. And so I wonder if that's why I was asking you, like, what your thoughts might be. Are they
Yeah,
misunderstood? And if so, what is it, you know?
it's also tough. I did a video on Hodinkee about the history of the Reverso, but it went out of production for 30 years in the middle of the century, right? The 40s through the early 70s. And that's when a lot of these famous iconic watches really made their bones, and the Reverso was just not being produced during that time. So that makes it
Yeah.
difficult to have a clear through line to the last 100 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. You and I both own the CS 3111 from Hoyer,
Right. Yeah, I got that last year.
which I'm actually wearing it. I don't really do wrist checks on this show, but I'm wearing it because I know you have one. And
I appreciate you not doing wrist checks. I never did that on the when I did the Hodinkee podcast. Good on you. I should have grabbed mine too. You're wearing it on your new taupe straps, huh?
I am, which I love. It's great. Good contrast with the black dial, I find. It's really nice. Are you wearing a watch currently or no?
I just took it off, but I've got my this is a Unimatic carbon fiber. I'm holding it up to the imaginary camera. I was wearing my Unimatic carbon fiber diver. It's a full lume dial. It was a Hodinkee friends and family thing when
Yeah.
when I worked there. Really cool summer watch. It's really light. Unimatic watches are big. And I've always wanted one, but they're just a little big, so the carbon fiber like actually wears nicely. So it's a fun sort of watch to wear all summer.
It's funny, I'm in a WhatsApp group and Unimatic came up in conversation yesterday and how like so many of us want to wear them and like them and the design language is cool, but the biggest sort of box that was ticked as far as a negative goes was the fact that they're all 22 millimeters lugs,
Yeah.
which is
Even
crazy.
the 36 millimeter that they released last year or 2 years ago, they did the same 22 millimeter lugs, which honestly is kind of laziness on their part, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see the benefit other than okay, we don't have to source other straps. Like I don't like.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really really interesting. Tell me the story of your CS 3111 then. What was
I just bought it at a small auction here last year when I saw it. I thought it was I was watching it. It's got the little original box thing, which I like the whole package. It's kind of small and discreet, perfect for the 90s. I've owned a few vintage, truly vintage Carreras from the 60s, 2447N, and then the two register, the later two register, the 7753, also black dial. And I like the watches. They're a little plain.
yeah.
So I didn't like having that much money tied up in uh a vintage Hoyer like that.
Okay.
I think that the 2447 was maybe 10 grand at the time.
Yeah.
So this kind of gets me it's about as much as I want to pay on a Carrera, basically. They're $3,000, $4,000, whatever they are nowadays. And you get it's the same, it wears the same, right? I mean, it's a more
It's the exact same. Yeah. Dimensions.
yeah, it gets me all that I need in sort of a Carrera.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you no longer have the vintage
No,
pieces
I
then.
got rid of those years ago. Yeah. What about
Got
you?
it.
Why'd you decide to get it?
Again, curious about vintage. I love chronographs. I'm sort of I think I've said before on this show, previous episodes that like I'm sort of I'm not on purpose narrowing my focus, but I'm finding that the pieces I have are very, very much chronograph centric. And I kind of like that. Like, I was never like, quote, a chronograph guy, but I am a chronograph guy because I own a lot of chronographs. But I was debating the 2447N as well. And then I kind of learned about this watch. And upon research, you find out that the case size are identical. The dial layouts, one for one basically. It's a clean dial. It's also legible, and it's a vintage size. Obviously, as aforementioned, it's the same dimensions. But and then on top of that, it was a Lamania movement. I'm not really a movement guy, but then like the more I'm looking into chronographs and sort of like what I'm interested in, I'm like, oh, it would be kind of neat as a coincidence, maybe even to like
Yeah.
collect these various chronograph movements, even though I'm completely aesthetically driven. So it's like, do I even like the way the watch looks first? Sure. But then it's like, oh, well, I not only like this, but it also has a different and very famous chronograph movement inside. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. And then, yeah, I don't know. And then I just, for this one, it was like the fact that it doesn't say tag on it. It doesn't say Carrera on it because they were afraid they'd get sued by Porsche. I just, as a Porsche fanatic, like I just love that story. Yeah, and it was $8,000 cheaper than the vintage one. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a yeah. So and I love it, and it's a great wearing watch. Like I just really really enjoy this piece, and I wear it a lot, frankly.
Yeah, I do too. I had it side by side with or not with the modern, 39 millimeter glass boxes that they
Yep.
released a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do a YouTube video actually eventually here.
Cool.
But it's just the sizing and proportions of the one we have are still so much better. The new glass box isn't a bad watch. I would say it's probably
It's
medium.
great. Yeah, I don't mind it at all, actually.
But aesthetically speaking, the 90s one just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Couldn't agree more. For those who don't know, what is Riscapement and how did that come about?
That was the original name for the newsletter that is now Unpolished. It's kind of a crappy name.
Why do you say that?
All these watch blogs, mine included, most of them kind of do themselves a disservice and are either a pun on something watch related or just name themselves after a component of a watch. And the first is corny and the second makes it sound like a nerdy hobby. And I feel like it's off-putting from the get-go. So
Mm,
I didn't want to do those things when I kind of relaunched the Unpolished newsletter this year. So
okay,
Rescapement was quite simply escapement and then, re rethinking or re-revolutionizing whatever.
sure. So, Unpolished, for all intents and purposes, is no different necessarily. It's just a different title,
It's
different
a
name.
yeah, it's a refresh, Wesley. It's a rebrand. And it was Rescapement was never a paid newsletter. I ran some ads in it back in the day. Nothing crazy, but now Unpolished is very much I mean, you can be on the free list, obviously, and you get a good amount of stuff still, if I'm being honest. But the goal is to get people to become paid subscribers as well, if they're so inclined.
Sure. Now, how much, given that you're independent now, how much of what you write about is sort of brands asking for XYZ article, not necessarily telling you what to write, but the subject matter versus Tony writing about whatever the hell Tony wants to write about?
I mean, ideally zero. I I don't think brands really care that much
About you or care that much in general?
about me, about newsletters, about this little newsletter I'm writing. I'm not sure how much they really care.
Okay.
I'm pretty good, like confident with my space in the space I hold and whatever little corner of the watch world I have. But
Hmm.
I feel like brands are more focused on other things for the most part. I kind of am a believer in the newsletter format, but I think it's still a little foreign to the watch world. I think brands in other spaces, fashion, whatever else, are learning that newsletters and Substacks are that's where a lot of traction's at right now. That sort of
Hmm.
direct connection that writers can have with their readers. But I don't. I haven't gotten any indication for brands that they care that much. I get press releases and all that type of stuff, but I've gotten very little. Hey, you should really write about this, that, and the other type of thing. I mean, I don't think there's a ton of. There's also not. There's new watch coverage for sure, but it doesn't feel, I don't think it's super force fed. And I also, one of the big things I've sort of tried to draw a line on is not taking advertising money from watch brands. So I do have to say no at least a couple of times a week, I would say, to brands that are asking about various advertising packages. Uh, so there is that aspect of it too, I guess.
Wow, 1 to 2 times a week. I feel like that's very frequent.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, some of them are small and not super serious, right?
Sure.
But you know, so yeah. But I think you kind of have to be able to play the long game, right? And I make all of my money from subscribers, paid subscribers, or most of it at least. I do some advertising for accessories companies or whatever else. But not from watch brands. So let's say 90% of my income right now at least comes from paid subscribers. So that's kind of all that really matters is the feedback I get from them.
How are you, like, what's your approach to growing your audience then? Like, how do you convert somebody from a free subscriber to a paid subscriber?
Uh, there are obvious things, discounts and stuff like that. I think one thing is I do want to keep everyone on the newsletter. I want to drive value to free subscribers, so that I can figure out other ways to, let's say, monetize them in the future. If they never want to be a paid subscriber, I'm pretty realistic about the fact that a pretty small percentage are ever going to want to pay for digital content. So I am thinking about other things to do in the future in terms of offering, let's say, small physical products or gifts or items if you're an annual subscriber. I think is one way. Straps, little books, year in review books, things like that are cool ideas that might get more people to subscribe. But I also kind of try to think about creative ways to package the newsletter such that uh, there's general information at the top, but if you're really interested in buying a watch right now on eBay or from a dealer or whatever it is, putting those links below a paywall line so that the incentive is there. If you're in the mood to buy right now, I can try to deliver that value to you. But if you're just generally interested in XYZ watch, you can still read about it. So that's kind of something I've tried to think about too.
Yeah. Do you think there's too many podcasts?
Probably. I think a couple of things. I think podcast mics should cost like $10,000 so that we just cut off access to them. And I also was thinking about this the other day. I use CapCut to edit all my videos. It's kind of the industry standard. And
Okay.
I think an annual subscription to that should cost like $5,000 or something to just cut off all of these stupid videos. Or if it really is valuable to you, then you would continue to pay for it. Yeah. Do
Right.
you think there's too many podcasts?
Um, Based on the lack of growth of this one, yes. Yeah, I do. Um, I feel like it's harder and harder to reach people. It's harder and harder to grow anything. It's look, if it were easy, everybody would do it, you know? But to your point, it's the barrier to entry is very, very low, so everybody is doing it. They
Barrier
just
to entry is low. The barrier to consistency, I would say, is pretty high. Most fall off
Mm.
pretty quickly. I mean, I used to
yeah.
have a weekly podcast, and I don't do that anymore, at least not for now. So,
Mm. Are there too many Substacks?
yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because it's like, look, I'm not directly monetizing this podcast. Obviously, like there's no ads, right? One could argue this is nothing but an ad for my business, but like,
Right.
I mean, I guess it is and it isn't. It is a vehicle for me to do product announcements but whatever. But it's also an ad for your business, you know? So, I mean, there's that. I've thought about moving towards a Patreon, if for no other reason to do things like, the pit stops and maybe the roundtables as additional episodes and things like that. And those can go to subscribers, or make those the only free episodes and make these interview shows what you pay for. Like, I really don't know, because even just the thought alone, I'm like, well, shit, even that coin can be flipped, right? Like, which one is more valuable? Like, which one would people pay for, I guess?
Have you thought every podcast is moving to video is kind of the one of the big trends, right? And then you slice those clips up a million times and put them on Instagram. Is that something you're interested in?
Sure, if I could afford an editor.
Yeah, that's the big trick, huh?
Because I mean, I edit all the audio, and if you edit audio, then guess what? You have to then edit video.
Right.
And if I just used Zoom, like, I mean, you have a beautiful home, but I doubt that's what you want living on the internet, or do you? I don't know.
I did, when I was doing the Hodinkee thing, I would tape over in the corner by the bookshelf with all the watch books, kind of like what you're, posted up at now. And when you
Sure.
post videos, that's what you see.
I mean, I guess my point is I can make it work for me, right? But then I'm like basically putting you in a position where, like, are you comfortable sharing your background? You know what I mean? Because like making video with your background blurred is like not, like, I'm not stoked to watch that. But to be honest with you, all these podcasts live on YouTube anyway with a stagnant image. So like if people are really hell bent on listening, quote unquote, to this podcast on YouTube, they absolutely can. How do you describe your writing style?
I try to be like conversational, but informative, basically.
Yeah.
The way you talk about watches to your friends.
Yeah.
Someone I am doing some audio interviews. Someone said they try to write to explain things to their past selves before they understood something, and
Huh.
make it that easy to understand for whoever's reading their writing currently. But I
Mhm.
try to keep it pretty casual, and that's always the goal. And I think with the newsletter that hits the inbox usually is where most people read it. they already know who I am. They've chosen to subscribe. So there's a certain intimacy there where it's somewhere between an email to a friend and a blog post and a short essay, right? It's like somewhere in between all of those. So I kind of try to weave tones of that throughout.
Yeah.
How would you describe my writing to the extent you read it?
Well, I wouldn't even say to the extent. I kind of read everything you write, honestly, and that's kind of no smoke. I think I would certainly classify it as friendly, approachable. I definitely think you have a level of snark in your writing style. I think that it's snarky in the kind of that in your very dry wit, right? Like so. I mean, it feels like Tony Traina to me. Like I can hear your voice when I read what you're writing, which is natural, and I think that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't think if it sounded like Shakespearean or some shit, it's like that's not who you are, right?
Right. I also couldn't like be as earnest or genuine as someone like you, I feel, because people that know me know that I like kind of am, sarcastic and have a dry wit and as you just described. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I know in a recent newsletter you were talking about how fun it is to like look at sort of the older watches that are inspiring the new ones. And I have a bit of an issue and I need your advice. And my issue is I often find that the old ones are the ones that I actually prefer over the new ones. And the old ones are usually much more expensive than the new ones are. So,
So, I mean, like the Carrera we were just talking about.
exactly. So, what's your advice on handling this situation and
I mean, you
frustration?
have to pick your spots, right? Like the Carrera, for example, we've both actively seemed to have decided that we don't want to spend the full freight price of getting a true vintage Carrera. But maybe there are other watches where the original or the vintage is that valuable to you. I mean, you kind of have to. I've always thought that the constraints of collecting are actually the fun of it and
Mm,
being able to make
interesting.
decisions and articulate the trade-offs that you're making to yourself and to others. Because if you could just buy it all, that wouldn't be super fun. So I think I mean you have to have experience with watches and buying things and owning them to understand what's valuable to you and what's not. And as we were talking about with the Carrera, for example, I mean I just don't wear or use chronographs that much. I want to have one because I think they're cool and there's
Yeah.
all of the history and the Carrera is probably my favorite chronograph design and I
Cool.
like what it represents and all of that type of stuff. But it's not $10,000 worth of fun or cool to me. It's 3,000. And you kind of make that decision for uh all of the features, watches, complications, whatever that you decide that you want to have in your watch box or collection.
Yeah. You recently got a Longa. Which one did you get and why did you buy it?
Yeah, I bought a first gen, so the original 36 millimeter 1815 up down. So that's the one that's got a off center subseconds. That's parallel to the power reserve, at basically 4 and 8, let's say. I love Longa, as I know you do as well.
Mm-hmm.
The watchmaking, the brand story of the past 30, 31 years, really, really speaks to me. They kind of are the epitome of modern dress watches to me. But I can't really pull off the Longa one on a day-to-day basis. It's a little bit thick for me. It's a lot of gold for my
Mm.
slender wrists.
Interesting.
This is part of the appeal of a Longa one. So I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying for what I wanted out of a dress watch. So I kind of had to go for the least Longa of the early Longas. And I landed on this one. I like the power reserve. I'd never owned a watch with a power reserve on the front of the dial. So kind of winding it and seeing it charge up is a cool thing that I'd never actually thought about enjoying.
Yeah.
It's super slim. It's probably 7.5, 8 millimeters. So it really is kind of um, the least longa that you can find from the early years.
Yeah. And it sure beats the IWC 8 day, right?
That's right.
For
That's
sizing, I mean.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought about a few different longas. I also like the early Saxonia big dates that are 34 millimeters.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a handful I thought about. The little longa, even.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a bunch of good longas in the collection or in the archives. You really can't go wrong. I mean, some of the new modern ones they still have are really nice, but it's the one for me for now.
Did they ever produce those early 1815s? Not necessarily the up down, but did they do those in black dial?
Um, no, so they did blue dials. I don't think they did black dials. As far as I know, there is a story of in the early years when you would take your Longa in for service, you would get a stainless steel 1815, and it was in all other respects, it was a Longa. The caliber inside was finished to the same caliber of a Longa, but it was a steel 1815 with a black dial. And it's thought that maybe 100 of these or so were made. And so I think that's the only 1815 with a black dial that was made in the early years.
Wait, so you're saying that was like a service loaner, the way
Like a service, a loaner watch. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there probably rumors are like maybe 80 to 100 were made. And as the story goes, collectors or clients were prone to quote unquote losing them when they would
Yeah.
come back to pick up their watch and they'd be like, oh, no worries. Like I seem to have lost it. I'll just pay for it though. And so some of them fell through the cracks over the years, as you might imagine. Uh, one came up for auction a few years ago, but it got pulled. I think it was Sotheby's maybe 5 years ago. So maybe Lanka got it or some deal was reached there.
Wow.
These albatrosses in the world of early Longa. I mean, stainless steel Longas are quite rare, and this is one of the
Yeah.
fun stories from the history of the brand.
Where did you hear that story first? I'm curious.
I must have read it. I did a lot of 1815 reading, a lot of it on Longapedia. I remember coverage of that Sotheby's watch as well, probably on maybe on SJX. I can't remember. I
Okay.
remember it coming on my radar then, but then recently I was reminded of it, probably from Longapedia.
Yeah. Well, shout out Alp. That's our guy. Cool. Widely known, maybe not so widely known. You're a golfer.
Yeah, yeah. I played growing up as much as one can in Indiana, and I got back into it during COVID, so I still play. I know you are too, right?
Did you? Yeah. Did you play in high school?
I did. I played in high school. My team made it to state a couple of times, which is I don't know if that's an accomplishment in the great state of Indiana, but
No, that's great. Yeah, that's amazing. What's in the bag? What do you play?
I still use my irons from high school. They're AP Titleist AP twos.
Sweet.
I got the only like cool club I have is the Bettinardi.
Bettinardi.
I have a putter from Bettinardi, which is based out in the suburbs of Chicago. So you can go to their HQ and kind of do the whole putting setup and fitting and all that corny stuff. So I did that early COVID days, was looking for something to do, had gotten into golf, and they put you on, all of this technology to track your putting stroke to tell you how much you suck and all that type of stuff. But it's a cool thing. It's cool that it's local as well, and it's become kind of this big brand. So
Yeah.
I used to have a Scotty Cameron that I got when I was, I don't know, probably 8 or 10, but I swapped it for this maybe 5 years ago. But besides that, I don't have anything super interesting in the bag.
Sure.
I mean, I play Kirkland signature golf balls half the time. Like I'm not a super sort of fancy guy about it.
I mean, you and tens of thousands of others. I mean, that's a good ball. I don't mind that ball at all, actually.
I would say, a solid wedge shot and it'll get scuffed up though. They're pretty soft.
Tony, sometimes you get what you pay for. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
How's the golf game right now?
I haven't played as much this summer, but it's fine. I've gotten out a few times and, it's as good as ever. I don't practice much in the city, so I kind of just go out and play, but there's a few
Yeah.
courses that I like to go and play here. Some old, it's like Donald Ross designs that are fun to go and knock it around, like these old golden age golf courses from the 20s and 30s. There's a lot of good golf courses in Chicago. So,
I didn't know you guys had Donald Ross courses up there.
yeah, there's a couple that I like to play, actually, one in particular on the south side where sort of there was a lot of money in the 20s and 30s. Yeah,
What's the course called?
there's one. It's called rather slow. And if you're a No Laying Up fan, I don't know if anyone is. They did a video on it a few years ago, which was actually pretty good.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of a hidden gem type of thing. It's one of those former country clubs that's now a public course.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's great. I mean, honestly, like the next time I go to Chicago and shout
Bring
out
the
Jim.
clubs, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna bring my clubs and shout out Jimmy, our good buddy of mine, client turned friend, as often happens. He's a golfer as well, and yeah, he and I have mentioned more than once getting out for a round. So we'll have to get you involved. I think that'd be really fun. I have no idea when the next time I'll be in Chicago is, but alas, I will bring my clubs. So you played growing up, you said. Did your dad play, or like how did you get into it?
It's my mom actually.
Oh, cool.
The family, yeah.
Sorry, I'm really sexist.
No, I know, right? This is my mom, and then I grew up on a golf course actually.
Oh, cool.
I grew up on an old Pete Dye golf course.
Oh God, that guy. Jesus.
Yeah, it's one of his first golf courses, so it's kind of shitty actually. Uh, but it was nice. I mean, it was a lot of fun to just be able to go out there and play.
Pete Dye courses they're just a thorn in my side, dude. Like I don't know what it is about his courses. They're really, really difficult. And little known fact, his wife was very instrumental actually in a lot of the design. And then
You're redeeming yourself.
well, hey, somebody's got to. And then also a little known fact, Pete Dye and I went to the
Alice,
same,
right? Alice Dye.
yeah, sure. Margaret, I don't know, but Pete and I also went to the same high school. So yeah,
Oh, really? In North Carolina?
yeah. Oh, so you know Pete Dye's history?
No, I know he's from Indiana, if I recall.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's interesting he went to high school in North Carolina.
Yeah, it was a boarding school.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, he's from Ohio. I stand corrected.
Okay, interesting. That's
Oh
really
no,
funny.
okay. He grew up in Indiana. Okay. I'm glad we're getting to the bottom of
See,
this.
you're right. Yeah, we got to give Pete his due. Um, Dude, I feel like you're a vintage 911 guy. Am I making this up?
I don't know anything about cars. That's a Porsche you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
I don't know anything about those.
Really?
This is the half. Whenever you start talking about cars on your show, I that's when I
Tune
go up to
out.
2x. I go no, I go to I either tune out or I'll tune it up to 2x speed for a little bit until we get into something I care about.
That's hilarious. Okay, so the round tables aren't for you. Got it. Why did I feel like you were into like vintage Porsche for some reason?
I don't know. I mean it goes with the kit, right?
Yeah, of course.
So there's that. But no,
Yeah.
I don't know much about cars.
What's your daily driver?
I mean, I don't drive much in Chicago. We've got my parents or my in-laws' old car actually that we'd probably drive to Costco or to the grocery store once a week. But besides that, I my daily driver is I use the bike share program here in Chicago, honestly, to go to the gym and stuff like that every day.
Oh, sweet.
Two
Are you?
wheels, baby.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your gym routine? Are you a morning guy? Are you evening?
I mean, I have this weird fake job now. Uh,
That's why I ask.
I kind of go in the middle of the day when it's not busy.
Nice. Yeah, I do the same. Yeah.
Are you able to go to the gym with the kid now? Like, how's that work? You like
Uh,
going in the middle of the night?
no. So basically, so my wife. She works like 3 full days and then 1 half day. So like today's her half day. So after this, I'm going to the gym. Um, Otherwise, like I have some weights and stuff here at the house. I'll work out. Yesterday, I was doing push ups and sit ups in my living room in front of the baby, which cracked her up for some reason. She just started laughing. So after I'd finish a set of push ups, I'd look at her and she'd just start cracking up. So that was
That's funny.
I kind of, it almost makes me want to do more push ups. You know what I mean? So that works out. And then Fridays, my wife is off, but this week we are going on a little road trip to NorCal. Um, and so, but yeah, it's a very valid question. Gym time, definitely on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, I will be going to the gym.
Nice.
And usually I do that like in the late afternoon, early evening, because to your point, it's not as busy. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. Yeah, that's it. But that's me.
Listen to this. I'm not that I'm not riveted, but I was reading Pete Dye's Wikipedia. The first design from Dye and his wife, Alice, as he so keenly pointed out, was the 9-hole El Dorado course south of Indianapolis, which crossed the creek 13 times. That's the course I grew up on. Isn't that diabolical? 9 holes crossing a creek 13 times, a singular creek.
That's what I'm saying. He was an asshole.
He had it in for golfers from the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't know the course was his first 9 holes, actually.
That's kind of cool.
Now, there you go.
Yeah, that's
This
amazing.
is my fun fact now.
Have you played any other like famous courses? Like, have you
Oh,
played?
surely. I mean, I played these like some of these AJGA tournaments and stuff growing up. This is the American Junior Golf Association for those who don't know.
Oh yeah. Who'd you play against? Anybody who's a pro now?
The one guy from Indiana who kind of made it is Patrick Rogers is his name. I believe he's my age basically. He's kind of a middling tour pro, my age, let's say 32. He's gotten close to winning a couple of times, never quite made it, but it's interesting because he was like a star at Stanford, like broke Tiger Woods' records and these types of things and never quite panned out as a pro for one reason or another.
Interesting.
So he was kind of the one. Justin Thomas is my age as well, but he grew up in Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah.
So he was always kind of this guy that was like you would hear about kind of in the same region as us. And I think I played in the same tournament as him, maybe once or something like that because he's close. But I don't know these guys, obviously.
Oh, that's cool. Well, so what are some of the courses you remember playing then?
I mean, a lot of the regional ones. I'm trying to think. I remember I just remember a lot of the college courses, honestly. Like,
yeah, I can't think of like what is a famous course in Indiana. I can't even think of one. Well, no, you've got Medina.
that's Chicago. I've played all the like nice courses.
Oh yeah, that's Illinois. Yeah,
I played some of the nice courses here in Chicago, like Olympia Fields and Medina, where they do PGA tournaments sometimes.
Yeah.
They've done majors there as well. So I've been lucky to play those once or twice.
I think Medina had the President's Cup there too, didn't they?
Medina had might have been the Ryder Cup
Or
actually,
maybe
and they're getting the President's Cup again here.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's yeah.
So yeah, most of the quote unquote famous courses are probably in the Chicago area that I've played.
Yeah. Man, I got to be honest with you. This has felt like the most casual podcast I think I've ever recorded.
I mean, your podcasts are pretty casual, but I'm glad I could abide.
Yeah, no, I mean it was definitely it's on par with no pun intended. Anyway, what else do you want to talk about?
Anything? Are you an eBay buyer? You buy much on eBay on a day-to-day basis? You got saved searches you're hunting?
Day to day, no, but if I'm hunting something in particular, I definitely reference it like if for example like something isn't made anymore. Like there was like a pair of boots that I was searching for a couple years ago that I ended up getting on eBay. What am I look? As of late, most recently, Volkswagen signs, like metal signs for my garage, was a recent purchase that I then ended up I bought one and I returned it. These people had a return policy and it ended up not being as advertised. So they got it back. Why? Why do you ask? Are you sponsored by eBay or something?
No, but I should be, honestly. I do monthly eBay roundups, basically. I send them a ton of business. Not a ton of business.
Yeah.
eBay's billions of dollars, but
Why were you asking if I was on eBay though?
because I got an eBay notification. I just always like to know what's eBay. People's saved searches are interesting.
What are your saved searches currently?
I mean, I have dozens of them. Top of mind because I just got one yesterday. I'm always looking for these. I just have like a Jaeger LeCoultre clock or something like that is a saved search. So I got this cool JLC travel alarm clock thing that's actually signed Hermes.
Oh wow.
I got it delivered yesterday.
How's the quality?
Oh, it's pretty nice. The alarm is funny. It sounds like a school bell, but it's nice.
How much was it? Do you mind sharing?
1,500 maybe.
Okay.
It was an auction with some action, so it's not like it was a huge deal, but
Right.
a cool watch nonetheless. And you probably would pay more from a dealer or Chrono 24. I've got a couple of them now. I love these desk clocks. And as you mentioned, I like Jaeger LeCoultre a lot, and they made a lot of really cool objects.
I think I'm obligated to ask, do you have the Hodinkee desk clock, the travel clock?
No,
Okay.
no. I know a few people. I know a few former employees with them, obviously. Uh, but no, that was before my time because that was in 2020. So I was on the
Well,
sideline.
I figured the inventory stuck around, so.
That's right. That's right. It's probably true. Yeah, I don't have one though.
Okay, got it. It seemed appropriate to ask. Tony, thanks for the time, dude. Always great to see you.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming, and hope to see you sometime soon.
Yeah, buddy. This wraps up this episode of the Standard Age podcast. If you like what you heard, I'd love it if you'd share it with a friend or two. And if you have a moment, please rate and review the show as it helps others discover these episodes. It absolutely helps far more than you realize. Shout out to Jensen Reed and Super Beautiful for the theme track. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.